Hey everyone, and welcome to this session, this European City versus Uniting for Inclusiveness, to this session that we call Project Level Up. Now, let's take the first slide. And we have, of course, our long and beautiful name. That's the slide that I want to have. Next one. Yes, thank you very much. So European signifies where we operate. So have that in mind. We are raising the stakeholder-wide awareness. City versus is the new digital layer in urban life, connecting these places, products, people, services around in this digital layer that we will know so much more about in today's session. Uniting describes how we work. We work with the methodology, universal design, and then inclusiveness. How about why then to set a new accessibility standard across Europe? The project has its vision and mission, and the vision is on the path to digital and inclusive Europe. I think that's it. And then the mission statement is, by listening to the needs of families and children, we are shaping Gothenburg to a more inclusive destination. And uniting these sectors, all of you that are joining us here today, from academy, private sector, public sector, and NGO, we are making this city a more inclusive and setting a scalable model for other cities. So, and we then finding new ways of complex challenges and designing environments for both physical and digital worlds where everyone belongs. The project objectives. For once, we have approximately 1 year to go in the project, so it's very important to have these objectives in mind. First one, inclusive digital twin city design. Second one, AI enhanced technical development and service integration. The third one, the strategic communication for project replication across Europe. And then the fourth one, to develop a sustainable business model. These level up sessions are then for strengthen our skills across the consortium to ensure compliance and social innovation and spark this collaboration across the project community. So bi-monthly we have these sessions, and thank you everyone for joining in today's session. The title is for today is AI and Avatars in the CU Prototype. So we have done a bunch of these project level up sessions earlier. So, and here's a whole list of different topics. If you missed any of them and want to maybe see them again, you can tune into our team place or the website to refresh your memory. And the next one in May is about MIMS and Destination Earth. More details to come on that one. So back to today's session that we have today, AI and Avatars in the CU Prototype. This is very much to update everyone on the current AI development that we have ongoing in the work. We have speakers today from several of our partners, Gothenburg Co, Younite, City of Gothenburg, and Kokokaka. So we will take a deep dive in different topics. So many speakers and a lot of different elements to be presented here today. We will end up in questions, of course. So if you have any questions, you can write them in the chat. Meanwhile, during the presentations, we will sort of take all questions in the end. This session is recorded, as it usually is, and you find them then on the team place, as I said. By that, let's start today's session, and we start with Johan De Pauli. You haven't written your own name here, Johan, but I welcome you in the room.
Thank you, Anna. Yes, like Anna said, we are talking about AI and avatars in our prototype. And to bring this story to life, I think it's really important that we sort of showcase the experts in the project and to talk about the different implementations that we have. So we will start off with Jimmy Hedberg at Kokokaka, that will be talk about a story-driven experience and why we are implementing an avatar and how we are story-driven, taking the experience one step further and not just showing off a digital twin. We have a why and how we are implementing that. Then we go into the technical details from GPU to an avatar. How is the solution actually set up and how does it work behind the scenes? And then we will sort of go live for the first time with our avatar, which is one of the key components in the solution. You will meet Saga, the local hero that will give information in the solution, and you will be able to chat with Saga. Sort of if you have any questions for our avatar, please write it in the chat, and we will try to answer as many questions as possible during the time that we have. And then we will finish off with Fredrik Hallgren at Intraservice to talk about how this project is actually building the future of the AI implementations in the city. But to start off, I will give the floor to Jimmy Hedberg to give us more the story-driven experience.
Thank you, Johan. Hi, I'm Jimmy. Let's see how this works. So, how do you interact with an AI agent in a digital twin? So we have created this like story-driven experience. It's based on a memory method called Memory Palace. So it's like 2,000-year-old method. It helps you remember things, and it works like this. You choose a palace. In our case, we have Scandinavian arena in Gothenburg. And then you define a path through this arena, which you should walk. And the things you would like to remember, you visualize those and put them along the path, like objects. And then you walk this path through the arena, see these objects, and this will help you remember those things. So what we do inside a digital twin, where we actually have this place you can walk inside, is that we prepare it with a path and add all those things, the knowledge we would like to give the user along the path and tell the story like bit by bit. And if we look into like how media and technology been developed since like 5,000 years ago, when we had like first the books, we went from like mouth to be able to write down in a book something and lend over that story to someone else. And from there, we got a lot of new medias. Like we got the TV and the cinema, we could start to make movies. And that was another kind of storytelling to make a movie. And then we got like computers, internet, and now we have AI. So how do we tell a story with all those new medias? And if we also look at the computer, and from the beginning, you communicated with the computer with like punch cards. You don't even have like a screen. And then we got the screen and the keyboard, and you could start to write commands. It was like for you had to be an expert to use a computer. But then we got like the graphical interface and the mouse, and suddenly you could like get a lot of more people using a computer with pretty easy way. And then we had the smartphones. We got like multi-touch. You can also almost like using paper and stuff. You can just move things, rotate and zoom in things. It was really easy. And now then, with AI, you can just talk to the computer and it could actually understand you. So how do we then create an interface with the user with this technology? And I think this could be a pretty big change from the other steps. because suddenly we don't have any barriers between like the human and the computer. So as a human, I mean, every day you live in a 3D space and you interact with real people. So what we would like to have in this 3D space is to add personalities, avatars, that you actually can talk to. So you can just move around freely and talk to people to learn. And in this case, we have 4 avatars. They have their own specialities, and they are experts on different things. So we have, like, for instance, to the right we have Stellan. It comes from stellar, star, which is the first way of navigating. So he's the navigator. He knows everything about the arena. So you can ask him for anything on how to find something within the arena. And then we can have another avatar like Oliver. He works in the kiosk. He knows everything about all the restaurants in there. And he loves olives, and that's why I have an olive shirt. And Vera, it stands for defender on Latin. She's the security guard. And Saga, our local hero, knows everything about Gothenburg and the horse show. So those 4 avatars are placed along a path inside Scandinavian. So when you as a user enter, you can just go and talk to those different avatars and learn step by step in the context where you will meet them in real life. So when going through security, you know where it is in the building because you've been there before in the digital twin. So we think this is a really good way to prepare before you enter an arena. And each avatar has its own persona. So we write a script for each avatar. Anything from like name and background, their role in here, what kind of character they are, the tone of voice, how they should answer when you interact with it, their expertise, what they can't do, guard rates, etc. So this is what specified them for each avatar. And the style of it is something we're exploring. So by doing tests, we found out that people want something that's kind of what you can meet in real life, but as avatars could look, if they are almost real but not really real, then you're going into this uncanny valley, which feels a little bit not too good. So we're heading a little bit to the right one here. What you will see later on when we try it on, we more like the second from the right at the moment, but this might also evolve a little bit more. But when you talk to the avatars in the solution, you're building up a profile, and this profile is so when you talk to the avatar, you don't need to like answer the same questions over and over. So it knows what language you speak. If you have any food preferences, it could learn about that. If you ask for a restaurant later on, what kind of like environment you prefer, how you would like to like have wayfinding and stuff inside the building. And also we designed everything around privacy, so we don't save any information on a server. So we save everything just locally on the phone. And there's like some benefits with that, of course. It's very transparent. It's make it comfortable for the user, etc. Only bad thing is if you would like to move to another device, that could be a little bit difficult. But we have a solution for that as well. So we can like encrypt the information and create a temporary link on a server, which you then can move it to a new device. And you can also use this to, for instance, create a customized link taking you directly into a specific event with some settings already set for the user. You can prepare a link for like a class or for your children, so they can just jump in and have all settings up for you. And that was what I wanted to say. And now I'm leaving this to Emil, who will continue and tell you a little bit what's under the hood. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Emil Edman, and me and my colleague Hannes Fredriksson at Intraservice have been working on the AI for this project, and I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to show you its development and features so far. Let me start by explaining what an avatar is and the backend of the avatar. On the left is the on-prem GPU server run by Intraservice. That's where the heavy calculation happens. We currently run a open source GPT OSS 120 billion parameter large language model, or LLM, plus smaller models dedicated to search like embeddings and re-ranking. We chose this LLM model because of its multilingual support and because it runs fully on premise. That means the core processing happens inside our own infrastructure, and we don't have to send prompts or context to an external AI provider. In the middle is our OpenShift cluster. This is where we deploy the avatar service, its tool integration, and our on-prem knowledge layer for retrieval. On the right is the Younite, the avatar client. It connects to our AI backend over HTTPS through a single API. Requests and responses follow a well-defined API contract, so we can evolve the system safely and keep integration stable. So the avatar is the user-facing character, but behind it is an LLM-powered agent configured with a persona and rules, as shown in Saga's prompt earlier, and connected to tools, which I will get to. It knows when to search, call APIs, or ask follow-up question, then answer based on what it finds. However, a language model is great at language, but it can't memorize all the data, and it should never make things up. Again, take Saga for example. Saga is the local hero who gives you advice about Gothenburg, but all this data is too much for an agent to hold. So how do we solve this? Our solution is Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG. RAG lets the agent search a database of up-to-date information before it answers, instead of relying on what the LLM learned during training. It's fast because we pre-chunk the content of turn it into vector embeddings stored in an index. When a user asks a question, we embed the question and run a nearest neighbor search to retrieve just the most relevant snippets rather than scanning everything. This keeps latency low and makes the answer grounded in retrieved resources instead of guesswork. Yeah, that's slide 2. So how do we collect data for the RAG? At the top, you see the simple nightly pipeline. We collect updates from our sources, convert it into embeddings, and store it in a vector database, a knowledge graph. This again allows our system to retrieve relevant information and use it to generate better answers. To integrate this RAG, we expose it to the agent through a Model Context Protocol, or MCP. MCP is a standard way for an agent to call external tools like the RAG and data sources via a consistent interface with well-defined input and output schemas. When a user asks a question, Saga makes a simple decision. If the conversation already contains enough context, it answers directly. If it's unsure or needs fresh data, it calls the RAG. To go even further, we have now added more tools to the agent, like the public transport API from Västtrafik. And we are planning to add more APIs like the accessibility database in the future. You can see two examples in the bottom for how do I get to Scandinavia. Saga asks for the start stop, then uses the Västtrafik tools to search stops and plan a journey. For tell me about Gothenburg Co, Saga runs RAG search, reads the retrieved sources, and answers from that data. If nothing relevant is found, it says so clearly. Finally, on scalability, adding a new capability is just adding a new MCP tool, and we can add more avatars over the same backbone without changing the core system. So now you know the avatar is what the user sees, and behind it is an LLM-powered agent that calls tools via MCP. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Emil, and thank you everyone for joining. I won't go too deep into the implementation itself of the AI agent on our solution. I guess Emil said pretty much everything that there is actually. Our solution on the front-end side of our Kit app is pretty straightforward and simple. So basically, we have event-driven communication. So we send a real-time message through HTTPS to the AI agent, and then we get a response or an error, but that hasn't happened yet. Still waiting for it. Then we have session-based context. So basically, even though we aren't saving any data to the user's device or even on our server, we still have a session memory, and we can have a long conversation with the AI, and then come back to the, for example, make some further questions about topic we have been talking about earlier, like 30 minutes ago. And on top of the basic security on the back end, we also wanted to make sure that the actual solution in the front end is also secure. So we don't make any direct API calls from the browser, but rather from the Kit app side. And then, as Emil also already mentioned, we have this extensible design. So basically, we have structured everything in a way that in the future we have a capability already now to have in-world actions. And yeah, let's see what it looks like in real life. And here we go. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes, great. So basically, now we are here in the Scandinavium on front of it. And here's our local hero Saga. For our starters, let's say we can ask a question or start the chat with the Saga from anywhere. But also we have as said, this AI avatar in the solution. So it's not just a chatbot UI, but rather embedded into the experience. And when we come closer to the to Saga, we can start chatting with it, and we have some predefined questions, or we can type our own here. Let's start with asking about something about the Gothenburg Horse Show. It's taking a while now. Okay, so Saga knows pretty much about the Gothenburg Horse Show, and she knows what's the wisest approach from which door, and what are the timetables, and we get everything from the AI agent. Then we can ask for something else, of course. Tell me about the history of the Scandinavia. So, as said, Saga also knows about the history of the Scandinavium and a lot of stuff around the Scandinavium arena and the events in there. And then also Saga is a multilingual person. She does know how to answer the questions in some other languages as well. Oh, no. Oops. It's the demo effect. Okay, something has happened. We need to look into that. But yeah, does anyone have in the chat, for example, a question for Saga, if we want to test out different kind of answers? We can ask, for example,
Let's see, Aki, if you have any. Yeah, you see the chat, Aki?
yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, I can read it out for you. But we have questions from.
Let me see.
Tree, see if Saga
Something.
can.
Who won the jumping final last year? Aha. And there's something really weird going on with Saga. Let's try if we can like reset the Saga is thinking. Okay, so at the moment we don't have a record who won the 2025 jumping final, but at least from this we can see that we actually used our own data bank where to fetch the information from, so it doesn't hallucinate or start guessing what to answer. And then At the moment, as said, we only have Saga in our environment, but we're planning to have in the near future a lot more, at least 3 more avatars, which are then connected to the same AI solution on the backend side. But yes, does anyone else have any good questions? I can try if Saga knows the answer.
Yeah, you have Aki, you have some questions here in the chat. How do I get from Stenpiren to Scandinavium?
All right, let's see. Where did my chat go?
Yeah. Stenpiren is across the city for anyone who maybe doesn't know the city itself. It's some kilometers away. You have some additional questions there, Aki, to choose from in the chat.
Yeah,
you can see them. Yeah.
What was his name? Håkan Hellström. Håkan Hellström returns to Scandinavia for this indoor tour in March 2026. So actually, that was already. But also, Saga mentioned that tickets are sold through Ticketmaster. So we do have this kind of information to make life a bit easier.
I have some additional questions. Do you want to take another one, Aki, there in the chat?
Yeah.
We have where can I find a toilet to change my baby's diaper?
Let's try that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, Scandinavia offers family-friendly restrooms, and it doesn't even know which entrance is closed for you to approach the said toilet.
Okay, good.
All right. I think that's pretty much everything for now on the actual side. So
yeah,
thank you.
Thank you very much, Aki, for this. Let's welcome the next speaker then. It's Fredrik Hallgren from City of Gothenburg.
Thank you.
Thank you. The slides are there, and here's
perfect.
the little clicker.
Okay, so I just mentioned briefly what we learned from this project and which will help us from the City of Gothenburg. So it's an innovation project and we'll learn a lot. So research and learn is important for us. So we are experimenting with how to retrieve information. We are exploring light drag, which is a powerful way to use knowledge bases to get as good information as possible out of information sources. Looking into agent architecture, MCP tools, integrations, we build also on-premise LLMs to be as secure as possible, so we don't leak any information to other vendors or to third country applications. But also what we learn from this is also, okay, but what can we use for other applications or other use cases? We have a lot of different use cases that we see that AI could help us with. So how could we use what we learn from here into the other cases? I'll mention another case on the next slide. But also for the AI agent and for the tools we're setting up, we're using only open source components. So we're using an open data model, the large language model, but also the other tools around this is also open source. So it's easy for us to scale and deploy and replicate in the future for different solutions. Was it this one? Maybe. I took 2. How do I go back? Okay. We have 2 handling the controls. Anyway, so we did a survey because we have got a lot of questions regarding Göteborg Co. That's our website for all the citizens in the city, and I think it's 44,000 pages. It's one of the biggest homepages in Europe. Not all of those 44,000 pages are relevant, so we are looking into maybe 11,000 of those to make them more accessible for our citizens. And so we made a survey for different departments in the city. So we got 31 contributions from 15 different departments, and so we try to cluster these different challenges. And it's really hard to navigate and search on the homepage today. So, but what's good is that Google is quite good at finding information on the homepage. So most of the people Google and find the pages. So but it's really hard to navigate from the homepage to different other relevant pages. Accessibility and language. It's mostly in Swedish. There are a few pages in Finnish. But we don't have any English sites or other languages on it. So that will also be solved a lot with these big, large language models. But also, okay, but how could we make it more accessible for people with how do you call it, cognitive dysfunctions or disabilities? So could we have it similar to CU, that we have different avatars, but maybe they also speak, they can understand that the user is having trouble understanding the information that is being given. So it makes it in an easier language, or maybe also with picture support. So you have pictures that explains what you should do instead of text, for example. And we have some other innovation projects that have explored this during last year. So we want to see, okay, but could we use this for the Gothenburg Co, but that could also be interesting for the CU project. And then we also have a lot of high volumes of the same questions. So how could, for Arbux, for example, that's the department that are helping adult people with education. So they have had a chatbot called Glenn, but that was a classic chatbot that they've written all the most relevant questions to and all the answers. And of course, we want to use generative AI to make that a lot better with all the information on the homepage. So what we learn from CU is actually a first step of actually see, okay, but what could we use from CU to the other use cases we see in the city? So I just wanted to give a little bit of insight of how we work in the city with innovation. So that's all from me.
So I think you can stay a while because I have questions for you. So it's time for your questions, and I really love this when you have demos on live demos. It's always happening funny things. So, but you talked about replication, and I thought that was interesting because in this project we want to serve as a replicable model for Europe. So is there any specific components that you see that are most critical for us to contribute to the future European blueprint?
Big question. Was that for me?
Yes, it was for you. Just something that you see that, okay, this is something that we can really replicate to Europe.
But the whole CU we want to replicate, of course. But for the AI perspective, what we are building with this AI agent connected to the different tools, we're going to keep that open for everyone to replicate. So we are also building it on standards, and we're also trying to see, okay, but how could we deploy this in a production environment? It's easier to just do a small MVP or POC, but how do we do that for real in an environment that are ready for production? And that we could share.
Yes, so that it's a deliverable within the project that we will have. Yeah, so that's very interesting. So I just wanted to ask if there are any questions from the audience. Anna? Questions from the audience?
No, because I think Hannes already replied to those ones.
Okay.
So there were little agents there responding meanwhile we were.
Our live agents are responding.
Yes.
That's good.
Was it Saga?
No, Hannes.
This was Hannes. So I was thinking about the trust, since you are working with with really the accurate sources and not going into like all over internet. I think to have this trustworthy sources, but also with the scalability. So what happens if you want to have more and more and more information for Saga to handle? Is that like a problem with the efficiency?
Yeah, I think it's two different things. What we do for CU, but also for the internal work at the city of Gothenburg, it's really important for us to know that the sources are relevant. So we're working with the correct sources. If you use, you could use ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, but usually what they do is that they go in internet and they find relevant information, or they have built-in information. But that's not according to our standards or our way of how we should work. We have guiding documents for all our work. So it's really important that it's founded in the correct information. But it will be a trade-off, because you can't have everything in the RAG system. So you also need to use the internet to find extra information. But then with the agent, you could make filters, so you could also have like an evaluation process in that pipeline. So it will never be 100% correct, of course, but you get closer to the truth. So that's the beauty with the agent system that Emil and Hannes is setting up, that you could build a pipeline that you could verify the information in different steps.
Yes, that sounds good, because I think trust is an important thing, and that is something that our user research also defined, that you don't want just another AI. You want to be able to trust in these avatars. So I think that's very good work.
It's a big work that we need to do to get hold of the correct information, though, and to keep that information life cycle and validated. So like all the information that is on Gothenburg.com or the horse show and stuff like that, if that information is not up to date, it will of course answer incorrectly. So
and maybe Västtrafik also when the tram is late and so on. So I will let you go, Fredrik, and I would like to ask Jimmy a question, so if you can join me. I had a question about the avatars, Saga and her friends, to lowering the threshold. So when you created those characters, how did you work to design to provide like safety, that people are feeling safe with those characters, and to lower the thresholds for children and with cognitive disabilities or social anxiety to want to connect to those avatars and like getting close to them? So is there anything specific that you have been working on?
We've been looking into a lot of different kinds of avatars, different styles of them, how they look. And then we're doing a lot of tests to see how people react to it. And we also done projects before. We're testing this out, so with some knowledge from that. And we see that if they are like almost real, it's a little bit uncomfortable to watch them because it's not real and somewhere in between. But we also wanted to that's why we choosing to go a path where they are more like this polygon style. So it's really clear they're not real. But we want to use attributes that could be real. So how we dress them and the style of them is made in that sense, and also looking into have a variety of different people in there, of course. So but we're also looking into the small things like when do you feel comfortable with someone, when they smile a little bit or not, they could look angry, and the style we have is like with polygons, like the eyebrows could be like a little bit evil, pretty easy. So it's very small details in like the face to have
the trust as well.
Yeah, exactly. So that's some things we're looking into as well.
It's very interesting.
Should feel like inviting.
So you want to go and talk to them.
Exactly.
That's very.
But they should also be easy to remember then. That's why we give them some attributes on like putting a horse on the shirt, etc.
Or on Saga's shirt, yeah. Exactly. So thank you so much, Jimmy. Do we have any questions online? Oops. Look back to the question, how can we share these tools and agents in the future, like shared pools of agents and tools for the city in large or with partners? Is that Fredrik maybe who wants to answer that question?
So for Hannes.
Or Hannes maybe. Maybe we have our chatbot Hannes there to answer the question.
Hannes, that was it an earlier question? Or how could we share these tools and agents in the future? The agents, I think what we're building with the agent workflow, and there's a lot of settings for how the agent should behave. So I think you could share the information for that setup with the agentic setup. I'm not sure what you mean, Hannes. It's you that are building a lot of this agentic work, but it's also you could also give them information how to work and what we build when we're building systems. We also use skills and other text information that the system always have available. So we could also share all of those things like the frameworks and how to build systems.
Okay, so I hope Hannes is satisfied with that question. So if you don't have any more questions, we will start to wrap this up. If we can
one
have
more
thing
I just wanted to mention because now we are looking into the solution and everybody potentially wonders when is this actually live. So we are now looking into bringing this live to a small user public. So we are looking into the pixel streaming right now to make the 3D world accessible to everyone. But we are starting to evaluate different solutions. That's why we're not live as of now. But we will also have a breakfast webinar next week where we can showcase a little bit more of the 3D world and also our avatar. So please check in for that. But hopefully we'll be live so you can test it out for yourselves in the near future.
That's interesting. Very good remark, Johan. Perfect. So before we wrap up, I just wanted to highlight the next project Level Up. So Anna, if you had the title and the date again for the next Level Up in our session, maybe you can just
Hey. I don't have the title.
It was about the memes. And
I know it's about the memes.
And the
Memes is what's the memes stand for, Monica?
minimal interoperable mechanism. Yeah.
Yes. So
and then we have Destination Earth as
yeah,
well.
exactly.
So
and there will be
is-
speakers from GATE and the University of Twente.
and the date.
Don't remember. May.
In May.
In May, mid-May.
Yeah.
We'll say on that one.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
So okay.
Don't remember.
So stay tuned on our website for all those project level up sessions that has been recorded, and please feel free to contact us at any moment. So
Yeah, and thank you for all the speakers here today,
yes,
online
thank you.
and in the studio. So
Yes.
with that, see you soon.
See you.
Thank you.
Bye.
See
Bye.
you.